Hello, and welcome to another edition of Soul Stretch. My name is Dana Clark, and I am the regular teacher for Soul Stretch when it is held at the Holistic Center. So, as you know, right now, the Holistic Center is not operating physically in its space, but it is using its resources and its teachers to bring you as many classes as possible. And so, Soul Stretch has been going on online for the past few months, and we're going to continue doing so as long as we can. Feel free to check in on these videos at your leisure. You can practice at any time. That's the beauty of online classes. They'll be posted every week. Every Sunday morning is when I'll have the classes uploaded, and you can practice whenever you'd like. So this particular class is going to be yoga for anxiety. And anxiety is something that is affecting a lot of us right now. It's kind of hard not to be experiencing symptoms of anxiety, whether we're working from home or whether we are going out as essential workers and working with the public. So this class is a tool for you to use whenever you are feeling anxiety or whenever you are having symptoms of anxiety. So just remember that using your breath, using your body, these are instruments that we can use to relax our nervous system. And so I urge you to tap into a practice that works best for you. But breathing is a huge part of it. And so we are going to start our class with a 6-part breath, meaning we're going to inhale for 6 counts and then exhale for 6 counts. So we're going to do a few rounds of that, and then we're going to move into, if you are familiar with my classes, you know I like to mix it up. So I do a mixture of Vinyasa, which is a flow class where you're moving in and out of poses, and Restorative, in which you are using props, but you're using a lot of breathing techniques and you're using a lot of relaxing postures so that you can help work with the nervous system and relax the body. And also Yin. Yin is probably my favorite style of yoga because when you're trying to create flexibility in the body or when you're trying to relax the muscles, you need to be in a pose for a good minute, 30 seconds to a minute, but you need to be able to breathe in the pose and work your way through it so that it teaches the body how to relax. So this class is going to be a combination of all 3 of those things. So we will begin by finding a seat. You can sit cross-legged on a pillow, a bolster, a towel, whatever suits you. I like to elevate my hips because it allows me to sit up a little taller instead of rounding my back and keeping my legs up high. It allows me to sit up nice and tall, which helps us to access the diaphragm, which helps us breathe in our belly. So we're going to find our seat. Like I said, you could sit cross-legged or you can be on your knees, whatever is most comfortable for you. But make sure you're sitting up nice and tall no matter what position. And let's begin to settle into our seats and breathe. Like I've mentioned in other classes, you want to get your breath to reach down as deep as possible into your belly, because when we use our belly breathing, it's teaching the nervous system to relax. It's teaching the body to rest and digest. When we're constantly breathing in our chest, up here, or breathing quickly, it keeps us in a state of fright, flight, or freeze. And so you want to get that belly to reach as deep as possible down into your belly. So sitting up nice and tall, we are going to begin with our 6-part breath. You can take a couple cleansing breaths. And then we're going to inhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause and exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pause. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Go ahead and continue this breath for your own rhythm. We're going to do a couple more cycles of it. So go ahead and inhale. And on your last exhalation, we are going to move into a jaw release. So this is going to help release tension from the jaw. I know I personally, when I'm experiencing symptoms of anxiety, I tend to clench my jaw. I notice it even when I'm going to sleep. So a good way to combat that is to do a jaw release daily, and especially at the end of the night if you tend to clench your jaw. And so I like to bring my hands and my fingertips on the sides of my face, on either side of my jaw. And I like to exhale. And then on the exhalation, I sigh and I begin to drag my fingertips down the sides of my face, kind of pulling down on the jaw. Inhaling again. And exhaling, releasing the tension from the jaw. I like to even give myself a little massage at the joint area, the TMJ. Inhale and exhale, allowing the lips to part and the jaw to just hang. You can even bring some movement to your jaw, moving it back and forth. A couple more cycles here. And from here, another place that's usually aggravated by tension and anxiety is the shoulders, the neck and shoulders. And so our next movement, we're going to draw the shoulders up towards the ears. Inhaling, and then on our exhalation, allowing them to just melt down the sides of our bodies. Inhale again, drawing them towards the earlobes, creating tension, and allowing the exhalation to draw our shoulders down and release the tension. Couple more rounds here. You can bring some movement to your head and neck. One more time. And allowing the shoulders to just relax. Bringing some movement to the shoulders, you can circle them, moving them backwards and forwards. And from here, one of my favorite movements is to get a nice side body stretch. So from here, we're going to place our left hand onto the mat next to us, and we're going to inhale, bring the right arm up overhead and stretch that right side body. Maybe even look up towards the sky. And exhale once you get to that stretch. Doing the opposite side, we are going to bring the right palm to the mat, bring the left hand up overhead, looking towards the sky, reaching and opening up that left side body, and coming back to center, going again to the left side. Inhale and exhale. Following this movement at your own rhythm, at your own pace. One more time. And coming back to center. And so from here, we are going to move to tabletop. So move your props out of the way if you're using them. Come into tabletop position. So tabletop is we're going to have our knees hip width apart and our hands shoulder width apart. And from here, we are going to do a cat-cow flow. And so what this looks like is moving from cat into child's pose, back into cow. And so I will demonstrate that first, so you have an idea of what you are doing. So this is cow. You're dropping the belly, pulling the shoulders back, inhaling, and then into cat, rounding the back, exhaling, and then you would move back into cow. But in this particular flow, we are going to move into child's pose. So from cat, rounding and exhaling, we're going to sit back on our heels, keeping our arms out in front of us. Inhale, coming back up into tabletop and moving into cow. Exhale, sitting back into child's. And moving back into cow on our inhalation. You can even stretch a little further, coming over the fingertips, allowing the arms to hold you. Rounding back into cat and child's pose. Coming back into cow. One more time. Into cow. And this time we are going to stay in child's pose. So sitting back on our heels, keeping our arms elongated out in front of us, and then placing the forehead on the mat if it is accessible to you. If that feels a little too much, you can place a towel, a block, pillow, anything under the forehead so that you could bring the floor closer to you. Moving into child's pose. Exhale. Allowing the body to fully relax. But from here, we are going to bring our right hand over to our left hand and place it on top of it. So this is just opening up the right side body. We're going to come back down to the floor with our forehead into child's pose. And try to get your breath to reach down into your back. You want to feel as if you're breathing into your back, into your sides. And see if you can get all of those things to expand. I'm going to come back to center. Take a cleansing breath here. And then bring your left arm, your left hand over on top of your right. And do the stretch on the opposite side. Remembering to breathe into that back and side body. And then move back into child's pose and slowly rise up, coming into your kneeling position. Taking a couple cleansing breaths here. And then moving to our sits bones. And so from here, this is our staff pose. We're sitting up nice and tall. We're going to bring the soles of our feet together into our bound angle or butterfly. Still sitting up nice and tall. I like to use my feet to help brace myself and open, and so I can sit up nice and tall. And if this is a little too much, especially since we haven't done a lot of warming up, I like to place my hands back behind me to act as a little bit of a kickstand. And then I use my legs to help open up those hip flexors even more. But it allows me, my hands allow me to sit up nice and tall still. Continue to breathe. And from here, we are going to bring our legs back together. Scoot forward a little bit and gently begin to lie back onto our mats. So from here, we are going to move into our bridge pose. And so I always scoot my butt a little closer towards my heels so that my fingertips are touching the back of my heels. And from here, you want to kind of scoop the pelvis, scoop the lower belly, and then begin to lift your pelvis up towards the sky with the help of your glutes. You can you can even gather your hands, clasp them underneath, using your shoulders to help move you up even higher. And continue to breathe here. Go up as high as what feels comfortable for you. Never forcing anything, but honoring your body where it's at in this particular moment, in this particular day. And slowly release. And on our next inhalation, we are going to move up again into our bridge pose. Continuing to breathe. And slowly release. We're going to do this one more time. Into our bridge pose, continuing to breathe, honoring your body. And slowly release. Keeping our backs flat on the mat, we're going to bring our knees up to our chest and wrap our arms around our knees, and we can gently rock side to side or just stay in one spot and breathe. From here, we can grab onto our outer feet or even our big toes with our peace fingers. Keeping the knees bent and moving them towards our underarms. Our feet are going to be flat as if they're trying to walk on the ceiling. Drawing them closer, but keeping the lower back as flat on the floor as possible. You can rock side to side to give your back a little massage. Inhale, bring the legs together. And exhale, bring them to the mat. So from here, we're going to do a sideline twist. I personally have a little bit of joint instability in my lower back. So how I like to come into this pose is by lifting slightly how we did the bridge. So using all of this to come onto my side, bringing the leg that's on the bottom, so the right leg out, elongated out in front of us, bending the left and bringing it across the body to create a nice deep stretch. From here, I like to bring my left arm out and even look in that direction. Creates a nice stretch in the back. Continue to breathe here. Going to slowly come back to center. And then as we gather ourselves back at center, we can move on to the other side. So bringing that left leg out, elongated in front of us, right knee is bent, and we're bringing it across the body. I think I showed this in another class, but you can always use a pillow, a towel, a blanket, something to place under that knee so that it doesn't feel as deep of a stretch if it's a little too much at this point in time. Continue to breathe. Couple more breaths here. Side blind twist is like one of my favorite postures. The spine is such an indicator of health. You want to have a flexible spine. But the beauty of it is that you can begin wherever you're at and create flexibility each day by just some slight movements. And it feels really, really good. And come back to center. And from here, we are going to bring our legs out in front of us and prepare for our final resting pose, Savasana. So I personally like to use a towel. I like to have a lot of props in my yoga practice anyway, but for this particular Savasana, I have just a towel. Usually I like to have an eye pillow, a towel, a bolster. Actually, we could use a bolster. I can use my couch pillow to place underneath my legs. Make it as comfortable and nice as you'd like. This is your final resting pose. So whatever it is that you want to use it. Make it as comfortable as possible. And we're just going to relax and breathe here. You could even do a body scan, starting at your feet. Slowly moving your way up your body and finding any place that may have tension, and then using your mind and your breath to help release that tension. Where we focus our attention is where we can do a lot of healing and damage So pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to the intention and the emotions and the thoughts that you're sending to your body. And it starts with just being mindful about how you're speaking to yourself. And it starts with curiosity. Why is this hip a little tighter than the other? How am I holding my body throughout the day that's creating that tightness in this particular hip that I'm not getting in the other? So just pay attention to those things. It all starts with curiosity about your own body. Begin to relax, allowing the body to just melt into the floor. It's completely supported. And just breathe. Begin to bring movement back to your body. You can wiggle your fingers, flutter your eyelashes, wiggle your toes. You can roll to one side. And come back up to seated position. So I wanted to share something that I came across the other day on Instagram from Elizabeth Gilbert, the writer of, or the author of Eat, Pray, Love, and Big Magic, which is my favorite. But she wrote something, or she shared something that was in her journal a while back. And it's short and sweet, but it's profound because it definitely spoke to me. And it says, "You are afraid to surrender because you don't want to lose control. But you never had control. All you had was anxiety." And I think that's such a short and sweet but profound message, because we walk through life as if we can control the outcome of everything. And while there are some things that we can control, like our behavior and how we show up in situations, we have very little control over other people. But it is in that need to control the experience, in the need to control other people, that creates the anxiety for us. But if we move through each day knowing that the only thing that we can truly have control over is ourselves, it alleviates a lot of anxiety. I know with what's going on in the world right now, I was getting very caught up in the behaviors of others, and I was allowing it to cause anxiety in me, and it was altering my mood and how I was showing up for other people, which was just creating a cycle of fear, of misinformation, and so my message to you today is that we don't have control over the world. We have control over ourselves. But when we relinquish that need for control, we can move through the world with a little bit more ease. And I know that's hard to do. And I know it's hard to get the mind and the body to follow suit, but it is something that we can practice. Understand that you have power within for your particular experience, and that's it. So do the best you can with that particular power, with your experience, and go out and heal the world with your own healing. And so that's just my message to you. And hopefully that this was a useful tool that you can use when you are feeling anxious or when you are feeling out of control. You can control your breathing. You can control your body, and at least to a certain extent. And so do those things. Nourish your body, nourish your mind, nourish your spirit by taking time to care for those things. And so thank you for tuning into this practice. Thank you for making the intention to show up for yourself and for sharing this space with me, even if it is on the internet. So thank you. Be well.